Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice, it works. Yeah, man. I
So,
should be blocked. It shouldn't be working, really. I don't think.
oh, really?
Yeah, they
So,
extended it.
oh, they extended your block?
Yeah, well, I got 3 hits in one go.
All right, for what exactly? What exactly did you say?
I was pretty harsh, to be fair, but it wasn't that bad.
Harsher than dragging a priest out of a church and beheading him?
No, no. Let me remember what it was. Oh, that Norwegian stabber.
Ah,
Like all the Muslims were saying that it's nothing to do. The usual thing. It's not. It's not a Muslim that does that.
yeah. Nothing to
So
do
like,
with Islam whatsoever.
yeah, I started off really nice. We got on really well. And yeah, I said that the reason why they're bad Muslims are they're druggies or they drink alcohol or they don't go to mosque is that's why they become martyrs because they get forgiven for all that shit. That's why you see this crazy lifestyle before they go mental.
So, is that because I've heard people say that
No, well then it got worse. It kept going on, and then I said that we went on to about Muslims and their IQ. It wasn't very high due to incest. It was like right in that criminal bracket. And then I called. Yeah, I just said that Islam disgusts me. I got blocked for that. Just for that sentence.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can't even have an. Because no matter how right or wrong your opinion is, it's still your opinion.
Yeah, like I would never threaten anyone with violence. It wasn't violent. It wasn't calling for any
Yeah.
action.
Well, and that's what amazes me the most with all this, stuff going on social networks. You can have liberals making literal death threats at people left and right, being like, someone should shoot this person, or
Yeah, especially with Trump.
Yeah. Even I know on Twitter since Milo got banned, Mark Dice has kind of been like being pretty aggressive with like not saying anything aggressive, but just saying things he knows will push people's buttons. Like one thing they did a hashtag Black women did that, and both me and him tweeted a thing about the abortion rates being like black women killed more babies than they birthed. The hashtag Black women did that, which is true. It's an awful statistic.
Yeah, but you just need to check that's white people's fault, obviously.
Yeah, awful statistic, but true. But you have
52% in New York last time I looked.
yeah, but you have people saying that he should be shot and this, and that, and he's getting warnings on his account, and it's so crazy. I saw a thing the other day where someone said, I think Gavin McInnes said, the tolerance is quote unquote tolerance is the new word for censorship.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah, it really is.
It's getting stupid in the UK.
So have you learned your lesson? Are you more tolerant?
No, it makes me want to do it more.
Yeah, that's
like I hate Facebook. I don't know. I've got a problem with Facebook. I am addicted to it, and I don't know why because I hate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have spats where I'll have it deleted for months and then I'll use it, for a while. Mainly because I'll have like an app or something on my phone that needs me to have an account to log into it. It's obnoxious. But
yeah, yeah. So what's been going on? You're qualified now.
Yeah, I passed my my online class. I'm not technically qualified to do anything. There's a lot more legal stuff if I were to be like a stockbroker for people, but I know how the markets work now as far as if I wanted to personally start investing in stuff, I could do that and have a clue what I'm doing.
Do you know Jeff Berwick?
No.
As soon as I'm unblocked, I'll introduce you to him.
Okay.
Like, I don't know him, but I knew him because he was a billionaire. He was a quarter of a billionaire, and he did it all on the stock market.
Really?
And now he's really into Bitcoin, he's into blockchaining, and he does lots of free courses where you can start investing money, like he'll teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And he's using the same principles as you. Like I'm not into it, but stuff you're talking about sounds like the same stuff Jeff Berwick's dribbling on about.
Yeah,
he made $15,000 in one day apparently the other day.
I've been trying to learn more about the whole blockchaining and Bitcoining stuff.
Yeah, Jeff Berwick's your guy.
Yeah, I also have. There's a guy who's a follower of my YouTube page, and at this point, he's a great help as far as sending me articles on Twitter to cover and stuff. But he's introduced me to two people who are setting up some sort of thing where musicians, I guess, can put out their music and get paid through Bitcoin, or different blockchaining things involving the music business and stuff. So hopefully I'll be interviewing them in the next week or two. So
Is that the one where they're asking people to put their back catalogues, like say you was in a band, like during your teenage years and you had these recordings, that you can upload them and then they give you 50%? Is it that one?
Maybe. I don't know. The one site was saying something like it basically allows musicians to act like an IPO, where, I mean, I guess that means like people will be basically like trading and investing in the musicians. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's got that on there as well.
I don't understand blockchaining or really any of it, and that's why I'm interested in interviewing the people. So hopefully they can teach me, and I know if I don't get it, then there must be other people who don't understand it as well. But
have you seen a plane's gone missing?
No, I didn't.
French plane's gone missing. I haven't been able to keep my eye on it. But
I saw there was something with a bar catching fire too, and people are thinking...
In ruin, yeah.
Yeah, people are thinking it's not an accident.
Yeah, I thought that. I haven't looked into it. I thought that when I saw it. And then there's been an Islam attack in Belgium just now. 2 police officers hit by a man from machete shot Allah Akbar.
Jesus.
And BBC is saying it might not have anything to do with Islam.
Of course.
I shit you not. Do you know what Allah Akbar means?
Doesn't it mean like Allah's the only God?
Yeah, they lied to you about that as well. It means God is greater. Our God is greater. Because God in Arabic would be Elisha or something like that.
Yeah.
Aliyah.
But
Allah is a name of a specific God, like Jesus or Zeus. So
yeah.
Our God, because they're Muslim, that's our God, is greater.
I heard someone speak recently about the idea that this is like the Crusades. Like, to them, the Crusades never ended. And this is just it continuing. Like, it's the same war from years ago. And it does seem to appear that way.
You will like this theory, like I'm not running with it yet, but apparently you're familiar with Atlantis, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's right on the border of Saudi Arabia.
I just watched like a whole hour-long thing on that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you look at the initials of the king of Saudi Arabia, it matches Nostradamus' prediction for the Lucifer when he rises. That's what his name will be. The second rising will be a fake.
Well,
and his initials match the king of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, there was something about that where it was like spelling out.
It was on
the phrase.
InfoWars.
Yeah.
Leanne Maccabee did it.
Yeah, spelling out the phrase Mabus or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
I've
that.
got a huge crush on Leanne Maccabee. She's really hot.
She is. She's gorgeous. And it's a shame though, is I noticed that you have it where, you have these news sources that have these female reporters, like libertarian and conservative girls are so much hotter than liberal girls, except I don't know where to find them. Like, I want to make this a series where hopefully I can interview a handful of them. Like, even I was watching Louder with Crowder, and he had some new conservative girl out there who's completely gorgeous. And
what, Lauren Suffolk?
No,
Suffolk?
but no. She's another one of this. This was some girl named Casey, and I mean, even Margaret Howell, I think, is beautiful. She's now on InfoWars.
It's not that. It's just when they start talking as well, like my heart melts. It's like, well, my god,
that's it.
They've got a fucking brain.
Yeah, that's it too. I mean, I've met plenty of pretty liberal girls, and when they start talking, they just make themselves very ugly by exposing how stupid they are. But the thing is I want to start doing a thing where hopefully I can interview some of these girls and just basically be like, okay, within the truth movement or whatever we want to call this, you have these MGTOW groups and stuff, and men that have kind of just thrown in the towel what's your advice to them on, first of all, where do you find a nice conservative girl? Because most of the time you would think bars and stuff like that, but I don't think a lot of them are out at bars. I would imagine most of them are getting up early in the morning to do something productive. So, I think it creates a difficult dynamic where, I mean, my mother once of all people said you should try to meet girls in a bookstore. And I was like, that sounds crazy, but it sounds a lot more practical for what I'm looking for rather than a bar.
You would be better going to music venues than bars. Like a music venue would be alright if there's like a band or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite cool. It's like I really want to go up tonight for that reason, to meet chicks and meet girls, but I don't know anyone in Southampton I can go out with. Because I'm really picky about, I haven't got any mates, so I've got really picky for like who I hang around with for a while.
Yeah, me too, for the most part.
Because I think who you hang around with says a lot about who you are.
It does, there's that saying, show me your friends and I'll show you where you'll be in 10 years. And I definitely think it's true. I've seen that.
Yeah. And if I had people I could go out with, I'd be like, probably if I meet a girl, they're not going to be any help whatsoever. In fact, they're going to be a hindrance.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
Black guys get it though. If you go out with if you get into you get those black guys that are real brothers, like really cool guys, actually from Africa, really spiritual, really nice guys. Not only are they great with women, they help each other out.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Like white men don't seem to get it. They seem to think that they can make your mate look like a dick. It makes them look better.
Well, I've had that happen numerous times where I'll bring a girl around a friend, and I mean it made me basically keep all of my girlfriends away from my friends to some extent. Like they'd have very casual hi-bye interactions, but
my mates would try and hit on her.
Yeah, mine too. And it's like, that's not cool. Like, I don't know where anyone would ever think that is a good idea or anything like that. And then, of course, it makes it so you are...
Black people don't do that, man. Cool black people. Like, they'll big you up when you're not there.
Yeah.
They'll really big you up. They're going, oh, Paul's so cool. Like, he's a proper nigger, man. Like, we hang around him all the time. It's so cool. He's a guitar extraordinaire. He's such a sweetheart. When you come back, you're laid. Like, if your friends say good things about you and you're not there, you're fucking in.
Yeah. Well, that's the sad thing is, I don't know, maybe it's just because Caucasians and white people have been sort of browbeaten so much that they don't like seeing anyone else lifted up above them. Like, I have one friend, for example, who, like, anytime any one of his friends that he was ever in a band with is in a band without him, he starts getting, like, super jealous and will plan on, like, how to sabotage the band and all sorts of thoughts. But it's that same mentality as, like that with girls. They just see...
So what do you do on Friday, Saturday nights then these days?
Me? For the most part, just working, coming home, working on music. I've been working on music since I don't have this class, and then stuff around the house.
We should do something together there.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Like if you need, like I don't want to like blow my own trumpet. If you need any guitar of any style, like I would love to do it, man. It doesn't matter what the style. It doesn't matter if it's clean, if it's metal, if it's rock, if it's classical. The only thing I can't do is jazz. That's the only style I can do.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I've been doing like more kind of, I don't know, synthy, a lot of programming stuff right now, but a lot of it could definitely use like solos ripped over the bridge parts and stuff like that. So I could get it.
Alex Jones was starting a band. He was going to promote one.
Was he?
Yeah, I was in it.
How long ago was that? I feel like
I'm still in it. Like, no one's ever told me what's going on with it. There's this mad guy I met, and he's in Afghanistan all the time as a troop. He looks fucking scary. He looks like a jihadist American. He looks fucking scary. He invited me into it. I'll send you a link.
Alright. Yeah, I have a handful of music apps I've been working on trying to develop too. And
yeah, which ones are you using to do your music?
As far as my recording, I use Bitwig Studio, which is like it was made by a bunch of people who used to work for Ableton, so it's kind of similar to Ableton Live, but it's different. I personally like it.
I used to use Fruity Loops all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You ever use Fruity Loops?
Yeah. Yeah,
Fucking good.
I've played around with all of them. I also, if I'm just doing kind of basic recording, I'll use Reaper sometimes, just because it's kind of really stripped down. But yeah, what I wanna try to develop is a app, and I also have someone who is a fan of the YouTube who volunteered to help me with this. An app that works like how the modern dating apps work, where it sort of is like GPS based. And what you would do is, like, say you're in a band or something and you need a drummer. You'd be able to open up the app and do a search of everyone in your area with a profile.
Yeah, that's already going on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that. I've been using that.
Really?
Because I get it for drum tracks. That's where I get my drum tracks from.
Yeah.
So drummers will upload drum tracks, and then people, like guitarists, can download them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just send it back to him, and if he thinks it's good, he'll put it on his profile, and a bass player can pick it up. He can either pick up just the drum track or the drums with the guitar tracks on them, so on and so on. So you get multiple remixes of that track until you end up with full songs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but yeah,
it's
funny because I always wanted this project where what you do is, like, you're probably the same. Like, when I was a kid, just to get your hands on a 4-track would be like such a big deal, just to be able to record 2 guitars. But now you can do that on your iPhone.
Yeah. So
I was thinking about doing an album where you just use an iPhone and you release it by iPhone as well, and then you're just a click away from your audience.
Yeah, it's funny, a friend of mine once made this statement that it was something along the lines of, like, the computer runs on your soul. And at first I was like, all right, this sounds a little weird. And then he was like, no, but think about it. He said, some moron down the street could have an iPhone and, they're just using it for social networking and checking on their friends and everything like that. He said, but I've been in car rides with you, Jamie, and you'll have an iPhone and you'll compose a full song on it. Like, you'll just sit there tapping away and you can make a whole musical piece as if you had a studio in front of you or something like that. He said, so in that way, it really does. It's the person, using this tool and creating something with it. Whoever holds the device, it will do something different for them, but it's based on the soul of the person, what they end up doing with it.
I think you're right, because I'm not the guy to talk about this. I'm a complete dum-dum. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But apparently the internet has the same properties as the universe, apart from one.
Which would that be?
Well, the difference is that we have something called time. Like, time doesn't stand still. But on the internet, time's based on keystrokes, on people's input. If there's no input, there's no time.
Okay.
So that's kind of similar. I would agree with what that guy's saying. Because that's what magic is about when you do your OTO. Like, if you're a musician, that's who they try to recruit.
Yeah.
Because you're manifesting all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and this same friend, it was funny, years prior, me and him got into basically a screaming match about evolution because I still believed in it at that point in time. And then, he pretty much just broke it down for me where he was like, how can you create all of these songs and, have that creative nature and everything like that and think that you're just a smart monkey, basically? Like, it's that aspect of the image of the creator, you can get an idea in your head and then manifest it into physical reality.
Do you lucid dream much?
I don't. I rarely remember my dreams. Which I don't know if there's a reason for it or not, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I lucid dream a lot. I remember my dreams a lot. Like, a lot. Most of them I remember.
Yeah. My friend who was saying all this stuff, he does.
I should start writing them down.
Yeah.
Mate, I think that's where a lot of script writers might get their stuff from, just dreams and just going with it.
Yeah, or auto-writing, which is almost like a I would say like a form of lucid dreaming while being awake. You know, one of the other things I was thinking about, and you'll probably think this is interesting. A friend of mine I recorded an album with last year. I used him as like my session drummer for this. There's like 30 some odd songs, and I haven't really done anything with it yet because I haven't been in the mood to write. And because I don't drink often, you know, on the occasion I do start drinking, I'll get in the mood to write. And when I was like a teenager, I was drunk all the time, so I was always writing. But then I was thinking about it, you know, another term for alcoholic beverages is spirits. And it's basically like, you know, having a spirit come over you that has helped facilitating that writing process.
Well, yeah, you might be right, because, I mean, I don't want to go into it, but it sounds very similar to what I used to do on stage, where I'd use alcohol to almost kind of do that it sounds, I guess it was demonic in a way, as in, so your mind switches off completely, you're not drunk, you get drunk, and then the alcohol comes out and you start drinking again. Does that make sense? So you're drinking, but you're sober. You know, when you get on stage, you seem to not be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, but you switch into like autopilot.
Yeah, it feels like I was on stage for 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I would have that happen performing too. And it was always weird because I would always kind of just like downplay rehearsing. I would just be like, we don't need to rehearse. I can just go out there and wing it. Like, because I would just know, oh, well, if I get into that zone, I'm not even the one doing it. Like,
I was the other way around. I was the complete other way around because I'd done this, because I practiced so much. Like I was doing it like maybe, I would do the set 8 times a day. So, you know, our concert, I would do the whole concert 8 times a day. And before the concert, I'd do it maybe 6 times and start drinking, like each time drinking. So by the time I get on stage, like it's so fluent, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I did have it. I feel like it's a lack of discipline in my character that also kind of kept me away from rehearsing that much. But never backfired on me too much, thankfully.
Yeah, but what instrument were you doing? Drums?
Bass. I was bass player.
Yeah.
Less
strings. I can understand that.
Less strings. You're not having to worry about chords. And I mean, technically, a lot of it was like, when it wasn't for bands I was in, like hard rock bands, it would be for jazz stuff. And I would always play all those songs in like first position.
Vince, no matter what I'm playing, I'm never going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
That's why you keep practicing all the time, because each time you get better and better, you know you've got something in your head that's even better you're trying to get to. So
yeah.
It gets addictive.
But yeah.
What do you think I should do? Do you think I should go out tonight? Stay in?
Yeah, why not?
It's just dumb going out by yourself, man. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have it where I'm at least like next to a handful of colleges, so I can always just kind of wander over to one of the bars nearby if I feel like going out. There's generally people there. So, I don't know. I think it depends how far you got to trek and if you know the areas will be populated.
Yeah, they will be heavily populated.
I mean, the other thing, though, and granted, I don't know how big England is or the areas around, but I mean, at the rate that attacks are happening recently, though, it's like, that's kind of got to be something you have to keep in the back of your head, that it seems like chaos is just breaking out all over.
Which attacks? You mean the Islamic attacks?
Huh?
What, you mean the Islamic attacks?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Are they like concentrated around their isolated communities?
What's more worrying? Did you see the coverage where we've got these paramilitary on the London streets now?
No.
Did you see that? Yeah, we've got, like, just out the blue, basically. It happened 2 weeks ago. They started training. We've got 600 police with, I guess they're the UK equivalent of an AR-15. It's a very similar gun. They've got balaclavas, like ski masks, and sort of blacked out army gear. 600 of them on the streets. That's
crazy.
That was introduced quickly.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything about it.
Well, this is it. Like, how did they get 600 people? Because the training for that would take a couple of months, you would have thought.
Yeah.
So, and they're running out of recruits to get in. They want another 600.
Well, I was going to almost ask, are they British or are they from elsewhere?
I don't know. That's the thing. Because they got fucking balaclavas on.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I've heard all sorts of theories that, you know, when they... Like, someone, for example, was saying that part of Obama working with Cuba, the intentions behind that were if, you know, he were ever to lock down America, he could import Cuban troops because, you know, you're not going to be able to reason with a military that doesn't speak your language. Like... You know, so they're going to be a lot less compassionate dragging you out of your house and hauling you off to a FEMA camp.
I'm touching wood. I think London will be okay. England will be okay. We'll get a couple of attacks, but it's not going to be anywhere near the level of Germany, Sweden, or France. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
But the worry is if we don't get out the EU, like this is what we saw with the Norwegian attackers. They keep calling him Norwegian because they just gave him a passport so quickly that once he's got that passport, he can just walk straight into England. So if Merkel gives all these Muslims passports, fast tracks them, they can just walk straight into England unchecked.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that.
You've got free movement in Europe.
Yeah, you do.
That's the main point of Brexit. That was the main point. Was once you get a German passport, it's as good as a British passport. If you get a Swedish passport, it's just as good as a British passport. Like, we're fucked.
And I remember seeing footage with Lauren Southern at one of the camps, and a lot of the people in there were saying their plan is to go to London and England for jobs.
You get looked up. No, not for jobs. You get really good benefits.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think they get more benefits than UK people.
That's crazy. I don't understand this whole immigration thing. I don't know how...
I understand it. You do understand it. You know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I understand it, and I know what's going on. I just don't understand how you have... Like, for example, last night I watched Van Jones debate Ann Coulter, and I assume you know who Ann Coulter is?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was young and I was a liberal, I thought this woman was an idiot, and it turns out I was the idiot, because, like... Her argument against immigration is solid, and she even told Van Jones right to his face, you're acting as if you're advocating for the immigrant or the person who's migrated here, but you're advocating for the corporate elites who want this increase of cheap labor. Like, I forget who I was talking to.
No, it's not even cheap labor, because none of them will be able to work. They can't even they can't even write in their own language.
Well, like, for example, one of the guys I had interviewed a few weeks ago, he told me a story he knew, and again, this is anecdotal, but I'm sure it goes on in different industries. You had a Hispanic person migrate to America. He set up, like, a lawn care business or floor cleaning service or whatever, and did everything by the book, got his papers, got his citizenship, went through the whole ordeal, but now he has... illegal immigrants coming here and undercutting his work, offering new services. And, you know, if they're all working for each other and everything, you really only need one guy who speaks somewhat of both languages, and then the rest of the workers can speak whatever they originally speak.
The way I see it at the moment is going back to, it comes back to this paramilitary, just how quickly, because London's small, man, 600 paramilitary in London's fucking huge scale operation.
Yeah.
And the thing is we're getting all these attacks, and people are just used to them. Like Nice, it took 4 days for that to come out in the newspapers, for it to stop, for the press coverage to stop. It's becoming a norm. And what you're seeing are these probing attacks, they're little tiny attacks all the time, to see what they can get away with, and what they get, and there's no throwback at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's going on is not only is there no throwback, is people are going out their way to defend it as a whole.
Well, I even saw a thing with the Bataclan attack where there was a detail about they were like castrating people in the clubs
Yeah,
and stuffing.
disemboweling them.
Yeah, and the media and the politicians kept that detail under wraps
Yeah, so who are
because
they protecting? They're not protecting me because we need to know about this.
yeah,
It gets to a stage, Jamie, where there can be an attack live and they won't tell you. They'll go, there's a suspect, be careful, in like Russell Park. It's like, well, is the guy black? Is he Muslim? Is he white? Like, can we get some kind of description, please?
yeah.
And they won't give you one.
Well, it's politically incorrect for them to.
And it goes again, who are they protecting?
Yeah,
Because they're
that,
not protecting the people. The people need to know who the fuck they're looking out for.
they're protecting their agenda. That's what it is. They're
Yeah, this is an agenda and it's working, man, really well. Like, there's no throwback at all. If anything, people are going, oh, it's not all Muslims. Oh, Islam's peaceful. Oh, it's just, they're calling it mental illness now. It's the new trend. They're mentally ill.
yeah. You know, it's funny. A friend of mine.
We're all just sitting ducks, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even a tough guy and there's no one up for doing anything about it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I am normally a very passive person in terms of things,
Yeah, but it's just
I
because
really
of the way
see.
we communicate.
But
Like, how can we really discuss what we're feeling when everything's recorded?
Yeah, but I see like culture just being destroyed left and right, and it's
Yeah.
you want to hear something crazy? I had it where even online the other day there was an article that someone posted with the headline "Trump wants to ban porn," and what it was basically like, you know, him wanting to ban Muslims. It was a very expansive statement that made a lot of sense that got reduced down to this little blurb, and people thought the blurb was the actual thing. Now what he really said was, we have laws against pedophilia, child porn, bestiality. They aren't being enforced like they should be. If I get in office, I will enforce the laws.
Well, did you see Orlando Bloom with his dick out? Basically, send me a rep dick out of Katy Perry.
No.
Well, that's what it's done. Orlando Bloom, there's always photos of him with a semi-erect dick running around the beach with Katy Perry. It's obviously staged.
Yeah.
And you think, I'm actually disgusted with that. I'm with Trump. And the reason is because Katy Perry is aimed at girls, underage girls, really.
Yeah.
And that the pop industry is porn now.
Yeah, at this point it is.
It's
I
not
mean,
suitable for children.
no,
I
it's,
can't believe I'm saying that because, you know, I'm the most liberal guy fucking going.
yeah. And now here's the crazy thing, though, is I brought it up where I said, you know, I think we should do things about, I know lots of girls who have made, you know, explicit videos with their ex-boyfriends, and then the ex-boyfriends end up uploading it online. And I think we should shut that down. So, of course, I'm told I'm a fascist. And this guy also tried saying that bestiality is cool under common law because there's no victim. Like, it was this very weird libertarian rhetoric, but he explicitly said, you are the enemy. And I'm like, listen, buddy, if you told me, like, to say we need a law about this is fascist, and then you told me we already have laws against child porn, like, you want it both ways.
Well, yeah, this is why you sexualize children, because then it makes the debate that because they're doing these activities now, that we need to reduce the age because women are more mature. But
Yeah.
they're not, they're being sexualized earlier
Yeah.
by more hardcore stuff.
And I
The most hardcore thing I had, Jamie, when I was 13, was Total Recall.
Yeah.
Seriously, that was like hardcore for me when I was 13. Like my mum going, yeah, you can watch Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall. I'm like, wow, that's hardcore. That's not hardcore now. What's not even hardcore is Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry, same age group of people watching it, where he's basically it's basically porn, isn't it?
Or you know, any of the Disney stars, the moment they turn 18, they're half naked and twerking, and they make it where these are the people that the kids grow up watching, and then as soon as they hit that age, then they're naked somewhere doing drugs or something.
Do you know what I watched the other night?
What?
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I haven't seen
Have
that
you
in
seen
a while. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen it.
I didn't get it at all because it had a lot of mumbling in it, but I thought it was really weird. But what I did pick up on was those two were blatantly mass murderers, and they just weren't telling you about the murders because they can't.
Uh-huh.
Did you get the feeling they'd killed quite a few people that weekend?
It would make sense.
He drops hints about it as well.
Yeah.
And this guy is threatening that woman in a coffee shop with a knife, remember? He threatens quite a few people with machetes.
Yeah. No, I'll have to
and then Julie's like, oh, it's a good
that.
night, you know, we could have committed murder last night. And it's like, well, you probably did, mate.
Yeah, and just not realized.
Well, no, you did realise we can't put that in a fucking book.
In a movie, yeah, especially not when it's supposed to be like semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, and I reckon if you checked the time he was there, and I bet you would find unsolved murders the same weekend in Las Vegas. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Probably was. I mean, you know, there was the thing about him shooting a snuff film and stuff like that.
That seems to be true, man. I know. That's what I've been researching the last week.
Yeah,
Mate, I keep telling you, I'm convinced Johnny Depp is the real deal.
Yeah, there's something about him. I wonder what's going to come out in this court case, though. I saw that that's starting with his wife or girlfriend or whatever, like the abuse allegations and stuff.
What's this scene where he's drinking at the Adreno? What's it, the Adreno gland? Do you know what the Adreno gland is? Whether it's that he overdoses on in the film. And he got it from a witch. He says that his lawyer got it from a witch doctor, and he goes, "Go easy on it. It cost me thousands." And he takes like 4 or 5 drops.
I don't know if it's synthetic or if it's something. It's some sort of form of like adrenaline, I would imagine.
Yeah, the only way we think, and he said he got it from a Satanist. What Satanists do, apparently, the reason they go for young children and sacrifice them is when they get in that state of fear.
Oh, yeah.
Just as you release the blood, that is the adrenaline, the adrenal gland. And it comes from the pineal gland.
But you have to get it from, like, a sacrifice or something like that. Yeah.
A child, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have read that.
That's what it is in Satanism as well. You can go Google that shit. That's what it is. And in the film, he says, I got this from a witch. It costs all this money and all this stuff.
So nuts.
So what is Hunter S. Thompson saying in his book? He's hanging around with this guy who we know gets in serious machete fights over nothing. Like, over nothing, man. And then he talks about how they could have murdered the night before. And you saw these confrontations he has. And then he talks about an adrenal gland. And doesn't he fuck that young girl?
Yeah.
And he has to call it his niece. So that's paedophilia straight off the bat. And Hunter S. Thompson's completely fine with it. He's not like got any kind of like you can tell that he's into it himself.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying about the guy posting this stuff, that was the sort of like amazing thing where it's like when I said that there should be laws regarding this stuff, I'm called fascist for saying we even need laws. And then this guy just turns around and says, well, there are already laws on the books about that, this, and that. And then the other odd thing was, you know, championing common law and everything. But then saying that, you know, if a girlfriend makes a video with an ex-boyfriend in, you know, thinking that it will be private and just for him, and then it ends up online, that should be her life lesson to not be a whore. And it's like, okay, but that is a crime with a victim. Like, I'm just saying that they should not have to go through a whole court proceeding to get it taken down. They should have, like, you know, in music, if you put up copywritten material, you get a DCMA notice, and it's just taken down because of the dispute. Like, but it was so mind-boggling to see someone who I knew was coming from, like, a libertarian mindset, who I would agree with on anti-government stuff 90% of the time, to have this, you are my enemy.
Well, you know
stance.
why you're supporting it, don't you?
Huh?
Why would you support that?
Support what?
There's only one reason why you would support that.
Well, yeah, I guess you have some sort of, you know, you like it to some extent on your own.
Or you're involved in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was you know what the other thing was? The person made some remark being like, oh, well, I've made zero porn and this, and that, and I just
I can tell you I've made zero porn.
I mean, I don't know. I have made it. It's never made it online, though, or anything like that. But it still is like, again, there's a difference between having a agreement with someone, okay, like, for example, long-distance relationships. Like, you make it with a girlfriend because you're not going to see her for 2 months, so she gives you something to jack off to. That's fine. But at the moment you're uploading it online, like, now you're exploiting them. Now you are doing something completely different than you originally agreed to. There should be repercussions for that, but it becomes very detrimental to the girl to try to bring that whole thing through court, and they risk ruining their reputation in the process. I just said we should, try to fix that problem, and somehow I'm a fascist for thinking this.
Yeah, you sound pretty racist to me, man. You sound pretty extreme. You need to be stopped.
I know, but yet bestiality is a victimless crime, and
it's not victimless, though.
According to him, I mean, I'm telling you, it was so mind blowing, and I was like blown away because I'm thinking in my head, I agree with your overarching sentiment that
I
we
know this
shouldn't.
sounds crazy. Let's say aliens came down, like reptilians are real, right? And they're so powerful. He would be okay with them raping him. He'd be, oh well, it's fine.
I guess. I mean,
okay
you're right. That's basically what it is. I mean, because there's no way an animal could.
But he's not a victim
to
anymore because he would just be an animal to the reptilian.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so warped.
Mate, you're friends with a paedophile. Hate to break it to you.
Probably. It's very warped that. Like I said, someone who's spouting off libertarian rhetoric.
Well, all you've got to do is go on his Facebook page and see how many underage boys or girls there are on there.
Yeah. Just weird, though, people who you would agree with the majority of their standpoint and everything like that, and then they immediately just are like, you are the enemy. And the whole conversation, though, was him building straw men and attacking them, and he didn't respond to anything I said. He would just say, you're stupid, you don't know anything, I'm not wasting my time with you. The personal attacks, no actual rebuttal or anything like that. And then, ridiculousness. I feel like a lot of times...
I'm assuming that, did you ask him, there must be porn of him online then?
Probably. I mean,
Did you ask?
But he said he hasn't made any, so who knows? I assume maybe he just hasn't gotten laid, period. And that's why he's angry about someone thinking to regulate porn. I mean, but I
don't like porn, to be honest with you.
But I
wouldn't ban it, but I think there is a problem with porn, definitely.
Yeah.
A huge fucking problem with it.
I mean, well, one of the points I brought up to him is I said, listen, I'm not saying we need crazy amount of laws regulating this stuff. In some aspects, this is why I advocate religious societies.
Well, a lot of boys are actually resorting to porn rather than actually having girlfriends.
Yeah. Well, because, they've made it where things like whistling at women is now sexual harassment.
Well, it's not just that. These
abuse.
women are so hot online that you're not going to realistically meet that kind of woman that hot or dirty.
Yeah.
So when they get to sex, the woman's just completely disgusted by the man when they get close, and usually just throws them out or something. Because if you try to do that kind of stuff on porn with a girlfriend, she's just going to machete you.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one other thing I was going to mention about all that, but one of the things I brought up, because I'm pretty against it too on some levels, on a personal level, like and I told him, I said, you can raise your children however, but now we have the state that is going to sexualize them through sex education and, everything else, whether it's drug education or death education. Like, I remember seeing...
Transgender.
Yeah, transgender stuff and all of what's your gender identity? And, they're going to start introducing these concepts to kids younger and younger. So there's only so much you can do as a parent when the state is trying to negate all of it. But it's just,
What's the future looking like for 2020?
Ugly at this rate. I mean, the point I brought up to him, though, is I said, there's lots of studies involving, like, sexual liberation and everything like that, and they basically come to the conclusion that when women start fucking freely and there's no sense of chastity, civilization will crumble, because women withholding sex and using it as a reward forces men to compete, and men will build civilization in an effort to woo these women.
Well, it's not just that. As Stefan Molyneux keeps repeating, women are married to the state, not to the man. The state looks up.
That too. But, one thing that's been brought up as an example of that is you have places that are very liberal as far as sexuality goes, Europe for the most part, and look what they are being invaded and conquered by, a culture that is the complete opposite. But it holds these certain values that make it so that it, is cohesive in some sort of way.
It's an attack from all sides, because it goes back to what Europe's facing, where people are just completely in zombie land. They're just not aware that we're at war.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not aware
that... Sexualization. It's not even a realization that this is even happening to children. There's no realization that we're at war. There's no realization that there's no economic recovery. It's just complete...
zombie land, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even remember seeing...
We're asking to be wiped out.
Yeah. Because we're just not aware of anything at this rate.
I think it's like lemons jumping off a cliff. I just think the brain can be programmed quite easily.
And you know what the thing about all of that is that's why I explicitly said to this person, I said, listen, your idea of this super ultra free liberty and, libertarian society, it's no different than the power drunk socialist and their vision of a utopia. You are talking about something that is so unrealistic at this point. Like, it sounds great. But people need to be controlled, especially at this rate, because they're fucking mindless. They don't know what's going on. Like, you can't
I wonder what stuff like Wi-Fi does to people.
It scrambles them. I've seen things where it literally, it makes it so that your, maybe your blood cells or your DNA, like when they would normally be all clumped together, they end up, separating, and it moves them around.
Yeah, you had this flicker right from a TV that's on all the time. Artificial light.
Yeah.
Fluoride in our water, chemicals we eat. I wonder how much... I do wonder, how much I'm affected.
Me too. I try to cut down on it. Like, even I have a cell phone, but I only use it in Wi-Fi, and I mainly only use it to listen to music when I'm walking around. I don't have a cell phone that anyone can call me on. I've been years without one just because I'm
same here. I've switched Wi-Fi off for 2 weeks now, and I feel a lot better.
Yeah. I try to, take breaks from it all. I guess there's glasses you can buy that filter out some of the blue light from the TV and the computer, so I want to get them. But again, this is stuff that most people just aren't aware of, that, there are things you can do.
You don't find yourself just staring at your screen, like in a trance, pretty much. You come out of it and you go straight back to screen, come out of it, straight back to the screen.
Not really. I generally will just fall asleep staring at it. I guess maybe I'm more of an old person at that rate. Once I get into that point, because you know what it is, I do know what you're talking about, because before I do doze off, I will generally be looking at it, but not looking at it. I'm looking at the screen, but I'm not paying attention to what's on it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I see what's going on in Belgium. A man's shot by police, now they've shot him. He's dead.
I saw Black Lives Matter is also shutting down
spots. Fucking hell.
spots in England. Did you see their list of demands?
Yeah. Well, I read the first 3.
Oh, man.
I spotted a trend.
I'll show you what. It tells you...
They want free stuff.
Oh, it's tons of free stuff. I mean, they want to be the most privileged group of people ever in human history for no goddamn reason. And it really shows you how far they are from reality, because I'll tell you what, it's like in their heads, they look at it as if every white person is Donald Trump or something like that. Like, that's the attitude they have.
They want $15 an hour. It's the first one, if you've got a job or not got a job, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they shut down roads, and it's because of this one. Do you remember we had those London riots because the cops shot a black kid?
Yep.
And the black kid was a thug.
Well, I mean, you had an incident recently now where a woman in America, like, was
when she's holding her baby,
holding her baby with a shotgun, and it's like she gets shot, and it's like, oh, systemic racism again, and it's like, in what reality?
Well, there was another one last night as well where that guy tries to run over the cops, so the police just completely they do fucking obliterate him.
You can't blame them if someone's
No, I
trying
would
to...
as well, man. If I was a cop, I would be shooting fucking everyone. I'd be scared, man.
And you know, it's such a shame.
Not an easy job.
Because, like, my neighbor is a cop, and he's like a libertarian, Ron Paul supporter. Like, he's the most laid-back guy that you could ever meet. And again, the image, like, the cop that they think they are fighting against, I don't know if it even exists. Like, the people on the left have, because they own the media and the entertainment industries and everything, they have become masters at creating boogeymen. Where it's like, you know, like Stephen Colbert, when I was a liberal, I really liked him, and I've been to his show a few times, and he even said, my character is, you know, the self-importance of Geraldo mixed with this and this. Like, it was a contrived character, but it's like political blackface. It's him pretending to be a conservative that doesn't exist. And when you have these liberals attack conservatives, they're attacking Stephen Colbert's portrayal of one. Like, you know, I hear all this stuff about, oh, the religious right and this, and that. And it's like, I don't see it. Like, I don't know where, like, we have Westboro Baptist Church. That's like one family that holds up signs, God hates fags. They don't represent Christians or Catholics or anything like that. But there's a never-ending parade of these boogeymen that are being attacked.
Do you know what worries me more than anything?
What?
This sounds really stupid. What the fuck's going on with The Simpsons and Donald Trump?
What do you mean?
Have you seen where they predict the Donald Trump thing, how exact it actually is?
I saw something with a scene with him, like, going down an escalator.
Yeah, and the girl drops a sign, and it goes to the left, to the right twice, and then falls.
Yeah, I didn't...
It's exactly the same.
I mean, The Simpsons, it's
What the fuck, man?
I don't know.
Watch it. Seriously, dude, watch it. It's not possible that it's a coincidence.
No, I don't believe in coincidence, but some of it, I wonder how deep it goes. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think on...
Well, what about you had it with 9/11, so
Yeah.
you must have seen all the 9/11 ones.
Yeah.
Like, it's in the Matrix twice.
Some of the things, though, like, as far as the Trump presidency predictive programming stuff, I question it only because they had been asking him for like 20 years if he was going to get into office.
Yeah, but what about going down the escalators and the girl dropping the sign? Exactly the same. And if you did it, it's exactly the same timing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It does exactly the same drop to ground. Like, it's a weird drop. It goes left to the right.
Yeah. No, that's a little too coincidental. And that's the stuff where I look at it.
I'm going to go out there. I think Hollywood is the Luciferian Central.
Oh,
Do you know what
it
Hollywood
is.
means?
Yeah. It's Hollywood is the type of wood that a witch's, wand
Yeah,
would be
you're
made
good,
out
man.
of. Yeah.
You're good. Like, most people I speak to don't even know what MK Ultra is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I that was one of the things. I mean, 90% of my interest into politics stemmed from my interest in mind control and stuff like that. Like, I was always interested in psychology.
I wanted to be a hypnotist.
I never got that far into it. I was always interested.
It's really easy, man. Do you want to learn hypnosis? You could do it in 2 days.
I've looked into it.
It is so easy.
But I got into, like, psychology, criminology, and things like that, and then it sort of you know,
Yeah,
when
you just need one book for hypnosis. That's what it took. I studied it for 6 years and I didn't read anything on it. I read all his books and they were shit. There's just one book you need by Ormond McGill, and he was the guy that invented stage hypnosis.
uh-huh.
He wrote a book called The Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis. That's all you need.
I know my mother actually, when before later on where she did just kind of quit smoking, she was trying to quit before, and she tried hypnotism to try to stop smoking, and I guess she ended up like levitating to some extent during it, which she's told me, which I think that's a very interesting aspect of it, where I hear that happens with people, where once they go into a deep hypnosis, they'll start lifting up.
Maybe I'm not suggestible at all. I don't think I can be hypnotized very easily. I wouldn't consent to it. Does that mean I'm not suggestible?
Yeah.
I don't think you would be either.
Hopefully not.
I don't think you are.
I think it's a matter of,
That guy who I thought was a Manchurian candidate, I still think he might be. He is unbelievably suggestible.
Uh-huh.
The most suggestible person I ever met. And he's aware of it. Like, he was like, no, you're right, Paul. That's why they go for me. That's why they go for you, dude. Because you are so suggestible. And it's not an insult. Like, it's kind of like a two-way street, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just it can be really great. But at the same time, if I was to pick anyone, imagine I was doing a stage hypnosis show. Like, you would get picked every single fucking time. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as far as it being the two-way street thing, I think if you're suggestive, it goes to show that you have a good, childlike nature to you. But
if I was to hypnotize you, I'd have to use non-consensual ways of doing it.
Just because of lack of
I don't think you'd be suggestible. I don't think you'd go along with it.
Yeah.
I think you'd be too wise. You'd be more interested to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah. I think that would be the case.
I think if I was able to lock you up, then that would be the only way I could do it. It's like there's two ways you can do it. You can either do it voluntarily, or you could do it through
the MK Ultra.
They even talk about that, like CIA techniques and stuff, in the books and stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to check out that book.
Yeah, Ormond McGill. I'll send you some links on that book.
Okay. But yeah, I had gotten into like psychology and criminology and stuff like that, and then into mind control, and then I eventually realized how much mind control has to do with the foundation of government and the entertainment industry and everything like that. Like, I think it's amazing how, we see movies like Clockwork Orange where the guy is kind of strapped to the chair with his eyes peeled open, and people get that image in their head, but then they don't realize how we sort of willingly are putting ourselves in that seat, peeling our eyes back and taking all of this stuff in. Like, they think it has to be done in a forceful manner. And that's part of the problem I see in society in general. We get these images in our head of, this is what this looks like, and then we think it doesn't look like anything but that. Like, I'll try to bring up, when people talk about slavery, it's like, okay, yeah, well, yes, there's the slavery you have been shown as far as the African-American experience and everything like that, but there's also the concept that taxation is a form of slavery, and that there's other forms and, ways that it manifests and comes about, and people just don't want to hear it because they're only comfortable with what they view it as being.
Well, the more I researched the slave trade, the more I saw that if you were black, you wanted white owners.
Really?
White people were pretty called slaves, yeah. The only reason they weren't cooler was because the government wouldn't allow them.
Yeah, I've gotten that too, where I've tried to explain to people, you have to look at the nature of government. If the government comes out and says...
I don't know, but I think it was about black slave owners and white slave owners in America. I think it was about equal.
It was a very low percent. It was about 4% of the population owned slaves, and 1% of that was black.
Yeah, white people tried to free them, they'd get fined for it.
Yeah, Well, here's
They
the
used to
other
do it all
thing.
the time.
Look at segregation, for example.
Well,
Now,
white slaves were worthless. They got treated way worse. Like Irish
yeah,
slaves were way worse because black slaves had more value because they survived getting over here. They're fit. They do well in the
they do
sun.
better in the sun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to invest in them once you've brought them. A
Well,
lot of them weren't that different to someone that's on minimum wage in the UK. You get a roof over your head, you get food, you can have a family, that was allowed, and they gave you time off and stuff to like play football. Like
well,
you did a hard day's work, yeah, you'd be doing like early morning till the sun goes down.
but see,
You get the whole evening to your family, you get days off, because they don't want to overwork you, because then you can't work.
well, you said a key word that a lot of people don't want to even acknowledge, and
I
that
think they paid them as well.
well, but here's the key word that you said, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge because it negates the emotional argument about it. You said investment, and that's the reality of it. A slave back then cost about $40,000. Now, what's a modern day equivalent? Your car. Your car costs about $40,000.
Yeah, you're going to maintain it.
You're going to maintain it. You're going to do the oil changes. You're going to, you're going to keep up with it so that it keeps running and keeps providing the service you want it to provide. Same exact mindset can be put towards slavery. If you starve your slave and beat the shit out of them, are they going to be good at picking cotton? No, you just
Here's
beat
one
the,
as well.
You just
the
beat
UK
the shit out of
pretty
one.
much never had slavery, pretty much.
Really?
Yep.
See, because I had known, I had heard that
They
Washington.
had it for maybe like literally a decade or two, and they were so sickened about it they made it illegal.
Yeah, because I had heard that Washington, when he was living in the UK, that he had them over there. There was some story I had heard about, there was an illness going around, and he had seen the slaves basically.
There was a slang. The saying was, I can't remember who wrote it, but in England, when you come over here a slave, you become a free man or a serf.
Uh-huh.
This is some famous quote. If you look that up, it's not exactly that quote, but it's something like that. When you come to Britain, man is no longer a slave. He'll either be a free man or a serf.
Yeah, I had
heard. And a serf is being like living off the state, basically.
Yeah. I had heard a story about Washington seeing the slaves when there was some sickness going around, and it was basically
any country the UK colonized made slavery illegal straight off the bat. So that might have included America.
Yeah.
It might have done. I don't know. It might have done.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's one of those things that people want to.
America didn't have that much slavery. They didn't even do it for that long.
No. Compared to everywhere else in the world and everything
It's under
like that.
100 years, I would have thought.
Well, and the funny thing is, for example, a friend of mine knows someone who went to one of these liberal colleges, holds all the social justice warrior, standpoints, but he'll come and say, it's fucked up. I'm Jamaican. But most people
would... Yeah, but most of his family would have... Islam ruled the slave trade.
Yeah. Well,
they ruled about 90% of it, 85 to 90% of it.
The point I was making was this kid would identify himself as Jamaican because he's from Jamaica. But he says, politically I'm recognized as African American, and that's fucked up. I'm actually Jamaican. What he doesn't know is that the French slave trade to the Caribbeans was much more expansive than the American slave trade, and he probably was from Africa at some point in the lineage, but you're not taught that, so you don't have, that bit of knowledge that you were probably just as much African as the next black guy.
How many black people do you see in the Middle East?
Not many.
Well, why do you think that is?
Probably because they don't get along.
No, because during the slave trade, they are that brutal, they didn't make it.
Yeah.
You get castrated straight away going to East. So you couldn't reproduce. Like, all slaves wanted to go west. If you went east, you were dead. That's why there's no black people in the Middle East. That's why you get them in America and not the Middle East. Now, what the blacks are doing is they're going to white people because white people are so nice, they feel bad about it. Even though they've paid reparations over and over and over. They have paid them.
Yeah.
They're still paying them now. And it's because white people are so nice. What would that Jamaican do if he went to Saudi Arabia and asked for repercussion, money back for a slave trade, what would happen?
Oh, they'd probably like stone him to death right there.
No, they'd go, you look like a nice slave,
Yeah.
and kidnap him. Like, they've still got black slavery.
Well, and
this is the hidden truth about the slave trade. It was Islamic.
Yeah, and it's still going on. I covered in an earlier video a Muslim woman being sold on Facebook for like $12,000.
90% of Saudi Arabia's slaves.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, they got them all from India, didn't they? They're still there.
That's so crazy. And
no, I think it's about 90%. That's what the Young Turks think. That's why Scent got so fucked up. That's what Alex Jones was going on about.
Have you seen Steven Crowder did a parody of the Young Turks?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Shut up! Right? What's my argument, right? He does such a good impression.
I know. Try and have a reasonable discussion.
Yeah, shut up, man.
But it's...
all the time, talk about fucking reptilians. What the fuck, man? Talk about Saudi Arabia all the fucking time. What the fuck?
And then
I used to watch the Young Turks back in like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever really watched them. I used to hate watch Piers Morgan. I used to watch CNN just so I knew I was getting the propaganda. Like I assume anything on CNN is straight CIA news. But I would watch it and I would be like, I cannot believe this. And
he
then
can't come back to England.
And yeah, I know. Well, actually, no. He's on like a British morning show now.
No, he ain't.
But they might
They'll arrest him.
They might be filming from elsewhere. But
I'm sure he's still wanted for hacking $1 million parents' phone.
I remember seeing this one thing though, and it came up online, but I was watching it live, where they were doing some interview, and they were like, "Oh, well now we'll go to satellite video footage from so-and-so somewhere else in the world," and then you start to realize you'd see a car drive behind the one person in the scene, and then 2 seconds later, the same car would pass by the next person, and they were just on opposite ends of the same.
Yeah, I saw that.
Opposite ends of the same parking lot. Like, it was the.
You follow Black Lives Matter.
Huh?
One point you should throw out there next time you do a Black Lives Matter video. This is what people are really saying in London. They don't say it online, but if you talk to people, with this Black Lives Matter protest in London, the timing of it weren't good for Black Lives Matter. So you think a black dude just ran around Russell Park, central London, stabbed 4 white people.
Wait, that just happened?
Well, the day the protest happened in Black Lives Matter, the day before we had that attack in London where that Somalian ran around and attacked 4 white women.
Yeah.
You can't. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. You can't get much sympathy when you have shit like that going on.
Yeah. Well, they know about Black Lives Matter. This black fuck just ran around and stabbed 4 white people. Well, surely there should be a case for white lives matter in this scenario.
Well, that's the whole thing I can't stand about people who take that whole stance, is there's very little personal responsibility on that end of things. It's awful. I've seen both Milo Yiannopoulos and Gavin McInnes talk about this whole social justice warrior and Black Lives Matter under that umbrella, but it's a very self-loathing, self-harm type mentality.
It's racist in its own nature because Asians can do well, Indians can do well.
Yeah.
The Asians got it bad after World War II, way worse than slave trade.
And I mean the other
way
thing
fucking worse.
They're
doing better than whites.
The other thing is, when things come up, like I brought up the white elevator scandal from the RNC, and one of my friends who's one of these mindless social justice warriors was like, well, you got to understand the history and this and that, and he made some remark like, there's only one side that keeps bringing this up and making it an issue. And I think he was trying to say that, white people are the one side being racist, but he's wrong. The one side that keeps bringing it up is black people that won't drop it. And they will find the littlest thing and try to make it a huge deal. And that's why they have to bring it. Oh, well, slavery. Oh, well, this. And like you're saying, What about the Jews? The Jews have been persecuted for thousands of years and exiled from different places and everything like that, but they're doing just fine and dandy in America.
Yeah.
They don't
Mate,
have any...
What the Americans did to the Japanese was way beyond the slave trade, and they're doing better than whites.
Yeah. It just it makes
a Japanese prisoner of war, man. That wasn't a good story.
It throws, you know, their whole argument is based on such a denial of reality.
It's the fact that it's based on the racist fact that they are primitive. They're the most primitive race. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's why they need all these reparations, because they can't get over it.
Yeah.
Like other races have done.
Well, that's why
they need to treat us different to every other race because we're not capable. Which in essence is racism. You're saying one race is less superior than the other.
Well, and
they're confirming that in their demands.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've taken that standpoint in a lot of the things I would talk about where they would basically, you know, whether it's the Young Turks or Jesse Williams' BET speech, they take this attitude that you can't even criticize them. Like they see themselves as subhuman. Like they see themselves.
Mate, they're hated in London, man. It's getting really to fight it.
As the inferior race, and you're right. They take this standpoint that, well, we can't do anything for ourselves, so you need to do it for us. They're the ones that are projecting the inferior.
Well, no, it's worse than that. They're saying they're not saying you need to do it for us. They're going to kill people if you don't.
Yeah.
Basically holding you at ransom.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a mess.
Well, it's very similar. Like the Black Lives Matter is the same thing as what we're getting with this ISIS bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard someone this week say it is. Because it's insatiable. Because whatever you give them, it won't be enough, and they don't even know what they want. They have no idea what their end game is.
I know German women that are being raped over and over and over and won't say anything about it.
Yeah. Well, because, you know, you can't criticize the subhumans.
And it's happening, like, in real public places, like, everyone knows it's going on.
That's crazy.
Well, where are all the men? And, like, that's what I mean, everyone just seems to be pacified, just wanting to jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
Just follow people off.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I have to get going. I gotta start getting ready for work. But we have, like, our first full video. We've been able to keep the connection and everything, so this is amazing, and I will upload this. And tomorrow I don't have work if you are free tomorrow morning and want to have another chat.
Can I break down Johnny Depp in absolute detail?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you check out West Memphis Free, just briefly? That's the only thing you need to know about Johnny Depp, is West Memphis Free, and the son of a bitch called Damien Eccles.
Yeah, I'll do some looking into it. And I'll pull up some articles so that way when you're talking about it tomorrow, I'll be able to bring up some stuff too.
Yeah, man. That'll be a good one.
Alright.
Well, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Alright, speak soon, man.
Take care.
Bye.